Heyo, welcome to the QB School. Do it live, the off day. Episode 1, maybe? Hopefully this thing sounds all right. We're locked in. Do me a favor, hit me with your favorite emoji in the chat. Get in the chat, get involved. Never been better time for questions. We're going to see if this can become the regular thing. I'm excited to get back into the regular live stream. Not quite sure exactly what it will look like exactly, but I'm feeling pretty good about Tuesday off day. So if you didn't know, in the league, Tuesday, most often the off day for the players, never an off day for the coaches. But that idea being, we're just going to come in here and talk some ball. Hopefully all year, Tuesday, midday, works out pretty good for me. We'll see how it works out for the crew that follow the channel. I'm certainly had a blast early on with this season. College football, locked and loaded. NFL week 1, pretty exciting, pretty fun. Appreciate everybody checking in via their favorite emoji. If you're in here hot, appreciate you hitting the like button for this thing. Got all sorts of little tricks of the trade that I'm excited to go into during this live. We'll see if I can keep a little multi-camera going here. As you are your own producer, you never quite know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm excited to have fun with this stuff. Good to see some familiar names in the house. My man Eric coming in hot with the ride. What a disaster that was. Sure, I'll have some Bear fans in here, some Dolphin fans in here too, as they're pissed at me at Twitter right now, but all having fun with it. So excited to see if you got questions. Now is the time. There is never a better time to get a question in to me than early in the chat. It's the best chance for me to have no agenda what we're going to talk about and just what comes up. Based historian, Hendon Hooker, the second best quarterback in the SEC. Probably not. Maybe. Excited. I'll probably get to some Hendon Hooker here pretty early in the season once they play somebody good. See if there's a game. Let me know if there's a specific game early in the schedule, first half of the year, that you want to see broken down. I could easily get that. Jack Drabisky-Binsky, maybe? Kirk Cousins breakdown. I mean, would it be a Kirk Cousins breakdown? I feel like it would be a wide receiver breakdown. But maybe. Justin Jefferson balling out. Man, the Packers. That was they're used to, I feel like, having rough starts of the season now. It'll be fascinating to see how they bounce back. Fascinating to see if the Vikings are that all year. Pretty wild. New York Mets with all that flavor. Not quite. We got a bunch of fans of a bunch of different things all over the place. The bummer is that I just don't have enough time to watch all the film. Really, the film that I watch is the film that I share. Probably the easiest way for me to watch more film is just what's been going on with the Quarterback School Patreon community. I'm really trying to dump more content over there. So if you're interested in more of the videos, that's probably the easiest place for it, where you're going to find it. Today, I think I'm probably going to do Quinn Ewers over there for just the Patreon community. Probably. Okay, don't freak out. Tomorrow's video, Jalen Hurts. The day after that, haven't decided yet. Probably Lamar Jackson or Mac Jones. Just want to see what the hell happened. I mean, I know that I've seen now a few different things in here about the Giants, Danny Dimes. The only reason I would want to do the Giants, well, I don't know. We'll see. I want to watch. I haven't watched the Baker game. There's a bunch of games. I suffered through that Monday Night Football game last night. I'm not watching that again. Would like to go. Well, Chaz Phillips, I see you in there with the Marcus Mariota. I'm slightly interested in what the Falcons look like early, just because I think it's still interesting early. I think it'll be more interesting if Ritter plays, but that rivalry, I think that rivalry between New Orleans and Atlanta is one of those things that unless you're from the South or are familiar with that rivalry, you really don't understand how crazy it is. I remember going to that game for the first time. I had no idea about the rivalry, and I was playing in the game. It's bananas. Fun environment. There you go. We got some good comments in the section today. I appreciate it. See if I can Make sure that thing is off the screen here. All right. See what else we got. Oh, man, I'm going to have to find out where that thing is. There it is. Boom. You're welcome. All right. Nick Lamar. Hey, JT. Was there a QB you watched film on while you were coming up in the league? Not really. It was more of like you just would turn on whoever had a good performance. I remember a few off seasons I dove into when I was early in the league. I really liked Rich Gannon, how he played. Thought I could kind of steal things from him. Probably towards the tail end, it was more probably, I don't know, middle of the way, it was probably Kurt Warner. And then, you know, I think everybody looked at Brady and just the craziness that he was able to do. That one year that they went just bananas. I forget what year that was, that Randy Moss year. But yeah, it's not, I don't know. Maybe it's different for different people. When I was playing, I really wasn't that locked in with exactly how everybody else was playing. I was just so kind of like hyper focused in my own game. But then in the off season, you would get a little bit more opportunity just to sprinkle that stuff into maybe how you look to get better. And so would look at guys occasionally in the off season, but no like die hard, like deep dive projects. Chase Rice, Burrow looked rusty. Yeah, that was, I only watched the tail end of that on the broadcast and just saw them kind of come back and have a great chance to win that game and should have won that game at the end, except for the change up from the long snapper. And then the other part about that game, for y'all who watched the Steelers-Bengals game, when they blocked that last PAT, yeah, the snap was slow, but the guy who blocked it, he came in inside the wing. So to me, the wing needs to secure that inside gap and make them run the long way around that thing. So, and I don't think the broadcast mentioned it one time. That would have been my biggest thing. Yeah, the snap is too slow, but if they secure the inside gaps on their protection, that thing is locked in. Now, coming from someone who's a longtime holder, former PAT field goal coach, you got to secure the inside gaps. Come on, help us out. Oh, man, see, you guys have got a bunch of good ideas. We got a bunch of good ideas. I would love to get to every video from Herbert, Wentz. Who else we got in here? Daniel Jones, Kirk. I mean, I think though that if you're a fan of the channel or you enjoy the content on the channel, you'll kind of see that I gravitate towards certain types of guys or certain way that the position is played or the way that I think it's played at its best. And so those are the guys I like to do videos on. Occasionally I will do videos on someone that I just don't usually do a video on, and that's usually the guys like, you know, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Daniel Jones. I mean, Roethlisberger back in the day. You know, those were just, that turning on that football to me is not as enjoyable as maybe a guy who's a little bit more dynamic, got a little bit more capacity to stretch the ball consistently down the field, just brings more robust quarterback game. It's just more fun for me to watch, and that's kind of why I break it. That's why I gravitate towards certain guys. Like not Davis Mills. Although I am interested to see Adam Martinez, what Matt Ryan looked like in Indianapolis. Again, just haven't gotten a chance and probably won't get a chance to go back and watch all 22 from every single game. I don't know. I honestly don't know how people do that and create content. I mean, I could just blow through them and watch them, but even when I'm watching them, I'm not really watching them in any sort of like depth or detail. And so to go back, I just usually choose one or two a day and kind of go from there. And then if I watch it, it's a video. You know, anything that I don't do a video on, you can basically assume that I didn't watch it. Boom. All right, let's get into some questions. Manford, I appreciate the video on Caleb Williams. You're welcome. I love watching Caleb Williams. I think that dude is ridiculously talented, and I'm fascinated to see what USC looks like this year and moving forward. Nick, my man. Let's see here. It's a little blurry. Still blurry. A bit better. You can't buy the hats. I need to sell the hats for whatever reason. I'm not in the hat game. If you know someone, I've actually reached out to a handful of people to see if they are into it. I do basically just don't want to be in the hat game where I have a few hundred hats at the house and I have to start mailing them to people. So if you know someone who can operate as the middle person, but also do decent hats, like I need the capacity for a flat bill. It doesn't have to be fitted, but it has to be like somewhat high quality, not like, lifeguard at the beach hats. I'm all for it. If you know somebody, let me know. Charles Glass, Anthony Richardson would love to do a video. In fact, I got the video, the all 22 from his first week, but now it's the second week, and I think he didn't play as well the second week, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. I might do it for the Patreon community just because I got the video and someone hooked it up, so I certainly appreciate that. I want to get to it, but I know I was mad I didn't get to it. I almost did it Saturday morning, but then life just got in the way. Joe Westfall, this is a good question. Did you ever play in a monsoon like Chicago week 1? Yes. Not in the league, but in college football, we played in a monsoon game once. It was our rivalry game, UC Davis versus, I almost said Sac State. They're actually really good now. It was a monsoon. They were actually really good that year. And I will say the only thing that I learned about it was, besides for the fact that sometimes you get the snap, it's just so wet, there's no chance for you to be able to throw the ball. You're barely lucky to hand the ball off in certain situations. And I mean like end of the game monsoon where there's puddles on the field, you're sliding every single play. It's tough. The little trick of the trade that we did, that my college coach, we kind of talked about, was the first play after half. It was a little bit drier. It was still raining, but it was not like a monsoon. We went out there, first play of a series. I always thought your best chance for a dry ball, especially in college, where you can control the ball. So in college or high school, you are basically in charge of your own ball. In the league, there's ball boys. There's, you don't control your own ball. So in college, you bring out a dry ball, you snap the ball quickly so it can't get wet when it runs down. And we took a big play action shot, hit a big post, and really helped us propel us to that game. And that was really the only thing we did offensively besides throw a couple screens and run the ball. And so just that, I always think in those rain games at the lower levels, specifically high school, and I always thought about this as a high school coach. We never played in a rain game in 3 years. I was coaching down in San Diego just because it doesn't rain here. But for most people, it will rain eventually on you, to make sure that you're throwing that thing early in the series and you do your best to keep it dry on the sideline. And so we would just keep it dry on the sideline, run it out there, throw it that first play, take a shot, and hopefully get a chance for a big play. But that was like my little trick of the trade. My man, J.R. Garcia, thanks for going live, brother. You're welcome. Oh, no. I enjoy a good live. The woke sports fan, JT. Legit, why did so many teams miss the boat on Fields? The guy has it all. All the TV people are backtracking now and love him. I don't think all the people missed on them. I think there were only a handful of teams that were going to pick a quarterback. And, they picked 3 ahead of him. All 3 of those guys, a lot of people liked. I might have liked some more than others, but, I don't think people disliked or hated on him by any means. I think you still got to prove that he can do it consistently, but, I'm as high as I ever was on Justin Fields. I will say, just watching the film, and I know I don't want to overreact to a 1 week, but I still think that if he can get the ball out of his hands any quicker, and I think the play calling can help manufacture some quicker, more on rhythm timing throws. Now it's hard in a monsoon, but I would love to see that. Whoever keeps asking for JJ from Michigan, I don't know. It's probably not going to happen. I don't know. No, I don't have access to Michigan film or really have any burning desire to do it. So sorry. Oh man. Michael Camilletti. What should Kellen Moore do in Dak's absence? Man. I don't know. I don't wish that on any play caller, any team. Just bummed out. Bummed out for Cowboy fans, bummed out for the league. I think Dak's a big asset when he's playing really well, and just sad. That's a you just got to find a way to go 500 and keep your season alive more than anything else. You got to get crazy creative. You got to lean on what you do well. And man, they just looked like a team that was really going to struggle. You wonder if the Bucks are just that good, or if that perimeter and that roster is just not what we're used to seeing. What else we got here? Silent Night, go easy, man. You're already calling for Jimmy G after a rain game and a loss, potentially? Come on. No, I don't think so. Trent Weaver, any good practice fight stories? Oh, man. Too many. Not for me. I was rarely in them, if ever. But yeah, there are some crazy fight stories. That's a good off-season. That might even be an off-season video. So remind me, and I'll come back to it at some point. But yeah, lots of practice fights. Probably too many. Stay the hell out of those. All right, the coffee is done. Onto the water. Double fisting live stream. Again, I know some of you all coming in late to this thing, but I honestly, if I'm like, just don't address your question, or for whatever reason never talk about your game, you can just assume that I didn't watch the game. Like the Commanders Jaguars game, I watched one play, and it was Trevor Lawrence throwing up a punt on a 3rd and long. It was just a disaster throw. I actually almost did a Twitter video on just that play because I was so like dumbfounded by the throw, by the decision, by everything. But I did the video, and then it was way too long for Twitter, and I was like, I'm not even going to post it. But that was it. I didn't watch any of the rest of the game. Zabudi, what do you think of the Elite 11 program for high school QBs? I think for the most part, it's pretty cool. I got a chance to go speak to them this year. I think I put out, I think I shared the Elite 11 presentation. Maybe I just shared it for the Patreon community, but I did a coverage presentation. So probably asked those players that went to it what they thought of it more than what I thought of it. I was a counselor when I was in college, I think for like Elite 11 2 or 3, and it was an interesting experience for me. I certainly enjoyed it and enjoyed the relationships from that kind of experience. Man, Steven, can you talk about how Geno looked as the starter as opposed to a fill-in? Man, if you're a fan of quarterbacking, you're a fan of football, you're a fan of really American sports, how can you not be just kind of smiling for Geno Smith? What a first half performance. I didn't watch every single snap of the first half yesterday. Saw the stats, saw at least one of the touchdowns. I thought he balled out, looked crazy sharp, looked like a pro quarterback, like precise, decisive, protect the ball, be really smart. Good job throwing it, taking control of it, ball control, just super consistent, just really impressive win. Really nice job. Dave Shockey, what quarterback performance that you saw disappointed you the most? All right, so this is a loaded question a little bit because I haven't watched every single game. But I would say that the one that I was most excited to see, that when I went back and watched it, probably I was as concerned as maybe I'd ever been after watching one of his games, was Tua. I know that was a big win, but man, there were some throws, there were some decisions, and I think I'm pretty, established as someone who has been on a fan of Tua for a long time, of his game, of everything, about trying to make sure that, he gets a fair shake, at least from me, being healthy, surrounded by a team that believes in him and an offense that isn't a dinosaur. And, we got to see some growth as far as the consistency and about the ability to drive the ball down the field. Now, he had that beautiful out to the left. I think I put on Twitter. I think I put a few of my favorite high and low lights on Twitter. Do me a favor, if you're not following me at Twitter, I don't even know what the handle is. It's probably at the Quarterback School on Twitter, but I'm trying to crank that thing out and pump out a bunch of content over there. So get over there, check out, and come at me if you disagree with anything. But there were some throws at the end of the game. There were a couple bounces. I think the first one, he probably got tipped. But man, the play at the end, it was bizarre where he could have easily iced the game and slid. Instead, he threw it back and skipped it. There were a couple skip passes. It was just the consistency for me with him. Just, man, I feel like I'm getting a little tired trying to defend it, but there are still flashes where you're like, this is what I'm talking about. The accuracy, the timing, the rhythm, the ability to create a little bit. I still think it's there, and I think it can be molded and improved, but man, for a win, that was about as bad and ugly of a win as you can get for a quarterback, in my opinion. What else we got? Boom. Appreciate all these good questions. We're getting locked in. We got 94 of our closest friends hanging out, so do me a favor. If you haven't, hit the like. I appreciate everyone who has. Oh, man. Charles Glass coming with the precise question here. Let me see this one. Are you a zone read midline guy or a bash QB power guy? Charles Glass. That is a great question.
I'm your huckleberry.
The answer to that is and both. I'm a comprehensive quarterback run game guy. So anything you can think of, I'm a fan of it. We probably gravitated towards, when I was coaching at the lower levels, more gap stuff. So power read bash, but we definitely did have zone read, and I think there are elements of it that you can use. I like a comprehensive quarterback run game, whether it's draw, RPOs, spread triple, however you want to incorporate it, even just pure quarterback run game. You call it run and we're running it. And so I think it's part of the game now. I think it's part of most quarterbacks' games, especially at lower levels. And I think it's just one of those things that makes an offense more dynamic, harder to defend, and much easier to be a play caller when you can run the quarterback like that, for sure. All right, what else we got? Niner by nature, 88. QB power is going to get quarterbacks hurt unless it's ram close to the red zone or third and short. Sure. You don't want to do it all the time, but granted, okay, Josh Allen is a freak of freaks, right? He's a unicorn. He's a creature, whatever. They have a great quarterback run game. They were running Q dart. I've seen them run quarterback pin and pull in the red area. And so you can run whatever as long as you got a guy who can run it. And I just think it puts so much stress on a defense. Really, at lower levels, it puts stress on any defense. But at lower levels, it really creates nightmares because you essentially have to play zero to be gap fitted out. And you can't, if you miss at any level, it's to the house. And so I just think it's really hard. It takes a lot of what I consider really well-constructed defenses that try to be layered and have first level, second level, third level, different iterations of force and run fits. It basically makes everybody have to play a gap and everybody has to tackle. And there's someone out there on defense at lower levels that probably doesn't want to tackle. And so if we can find that person, isolate them make tackles in space, we're probably going to be all right. Why are so many people coming at me in this chat about Elite 11? I've talked about it in this live stream, have videos on it. If you want to see the presentation, it's over at the Patreon community. Hop over there, check it out. See what we got. Manford, how unique / good is Lincoln Riley's offense? I think it's to be determined at USC. I think the things that I love about it is how it's incorporated and blended air raidy passing game things with a quarterback run game with that gapped run game. I always think of Oklahoma for a long time as that GT, bash GT, RPO, spread, screen. They incorporate a few different personnels, whether it's 11 or is it 20, how they interweave that sniffer position that I think can be so dynamic at lower levels of football. At lower levels of football, it's just so important. If you have the capacity to switch personnels, it can just put so much stress on a defense because most defenses at the lower levels aren't going to have sub packages, dime, nickel, goal line, unless you just come out in some crazy a la carte defense, which we certainly saw just with we were unique structured offense. But for the most part, if you can have someone you can spread out, you can bring inside, you can use as a fullback, you can use as a vertical threat. I think that part of it is always fascinating. I think Lincoln Riley has always been on the cutting edge of being able to kind of intermix certain personnel groups with that gap scheme, RPO, air raid concepts that really kind of create this unique stress for defense. Abadab Dad. Kellen Moore is overrated as a play caller. Thoughts? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I never really thought about it that much. I've always liked Mike McCarthy. He was a guy who was my coordinator first couple years in the league. Obviously, it's been a long time. He's been a head coach for a long time. I have no idea if I think that there were some things that feel like Kellen Moore's been rolling sometimes. Other times, it feels a little gimmicky. It feels like they don't necessarily have all the answers that other teams do. And so, you know, what that looks like over the course of this year with a backup quarterback, we'll find out. Man. All right. A couple more here. Losing my voice. I'll try to do another video. Again, trying to do that. I want to go back and look at that Quinn Ewers tape just because he was balling against Alabama and then he got hurt, which was such a bummer because, man, that game was on fire when he was playing quarterback. So I need to go see that again. Watched it live. Dylan Popoff. Kellen ran 2 trick plays on the opening drive. So confused by that. Yeah, I didn't see the opening drive, but that wouldn't surprise me. I love a good trick play too. I don't think they're as effective in the league, certainly when you run them that much, but man, lower levels of football, if you're struggling to create chunk plays as an offense or you're not quite as explosive as you want to be, trick plays. We carry half dozen trick plays into a game and we're going to run them. If we're practicing them, we're running those suckers. Oh yeah. Danny F. Ba-boom. Good question. Do you think the skill set for NFL QBs changed over the last few years? Feels like you have to be able to throw off platform more now. Yeah, I would say an element of it feels like that's the case. I think it's a combination of things, probably. I think a more spready game has come into the NFL. You know, the combination of RPOs, a little bit more 11, a little bit more spread, a little bit more of a dynamic athlete probably playing the position has created more opportunities for those kind of off-platform things. I also think quarterbacks are just better. I think that they practice younger, they get more reps, they're more used to throwing off platform, they're more confident. It's more acceptable to throw back across your body, to drop your arm angle down. It's not, everybody's not 6'5" and throws over the top. So those types of things all together probably create the cocktail of what it feels like off-platform throws are more prevalent. But I think they've always been part of the game. I just feel like now they're also promoted. You know, every time Patrick Mahomes does something sidearm, it's going to be all over ESPN. No look passes, those types of things that are just more coverage, more athletic guys, more wide open offense, more rules to protect the quarterback. All those things go into it to kind of create the, I don't know if it's an illusion or the reality that, yeah, there probably are more opportunities for people to throw those off-platform throws. Boom. Ellison Lord. Thoughts on how important mental toughness is as an athlete? Yeah, a lot of thoughts. Probably not even just mental toughness as an athlete, just mental toughness. Probably that could be a whole book, seminar, coach, course. So yeah, none that I can necessarily are polished enough and concise enough to share on a live stream. But I love the question. I love where your mind's at. Who is your QB1 in this college class? Niner by nature, 88, coming in with a bunch of hot questions. It's Bryce Young. It's going to be Bryce Young, unless I can't imagine something mind-boggling happens where I would change off that. All right, let's do one or two more, and then I'll get into whatever's next. But I certainly appreciate y'all hanging out. Really am. Do me a favor for the new peeps, okay? If you haven't, please enroll. Free quarterback school quick game course. I think I drip it over the course of 5 weeks. Whenever you sign up, you'll get the first one, and then it drops usually on the weekend. Appreciate that. Again, if you haven't hung out with the Quarterback School Patreon community, that's another one. I sincerely appreciate the support with that. And just not an easy way. It's never been cheaper, never been easier to support the channel through the Quarterback School Patreon community. So I appreciate you getting over there and doing that. What else I got for you? That's about it. I'm excited for this season, man. We've been locked in. It's been some great ball, college ball, NFL ball. Try to keep this all 22 pumping for you guys. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's see one more contract or one more question. It's a contract. You saw the foreshadowing. Brandon Lil, is Lamar Jackson worth a larger contract than Deshaun Watson? Yes. I love these. Keep the yes/no questions coming. All right. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you on the other side. Later.